Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to Sara's work. Today we'll be doing wood burning. We'll be doing Islamic calligraphy. We will be using a plaque, a wooden plaque. This is 9 by 12. The company name is Wilson Basswood Plaque. You can order it from Amazon. We will be transferring a calligraphy which says Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This will be transferred on this wooden block. The tools we will be using is this wood burning tool. It comes with a lot of heads. These are the different types of heads we will be using. We will be using a transfer paper. This is a transfer paper. It's a company from Master's Touch graphite paper. You don't have to go crazy with an expensive brand. This will do just okay. So this is a bigger printout I got. It's very easy to transfer. Make sure the dark side is down. By the way, there might be small nicks on your plaque. Do not worry, we can always fill it with paint and stuff in the end. And when you unwrap this wooden plaque, make sure that you do it delicately, because the sides might chip off when you're taking off the plastic cover. So just do it gently, because we do want this rough edges to show it's the character of this wood, and it's a raw wood. It's pretty finished. We do not need to sand it. So we'll just go ahead and transfer the image. We are going to put the dark side down, and remember, this is reusable. You can use it multiple times. Let's see where we want the image to be. I think I want the image to go somewhere near the nick so that we can cover it with the wood burn. This seems to be a good idea. Let's keep it here, so this could cover this whole neck. Here we go. I think I'm going to just place this here. This is basically an order that I'm making for someone. What I'll do is I'll use a colored pencil so I'll know exactly where the transfer has occurred. You can sharpen it, or you can just, I'm not going to sharpen the pencil, but you can if you want to. And just press it enough so with transfer paper, it will start transferring on the wood, the image. We want it clear. And I use some paper tape to tape this. I'm going to put a little bit more. It doesn't seem to tape well. So let's put a little bit more to make sure that it doesn't move. We don't want the paper to keep moving. Make sure it secures well. Here we go. But you can always lift the paper from this end to see how the transfer is coming along. The reason I'm using a colored pencil is so I would know exactly what lines I have drawn and what I need to do further. Since it's a graphite pencil that's transferring on the wood, it's easily erasable if you make a mistake even during your transfer. So we will gently and just follow the lines and try our best to do this. And you can take your time with doing this. So you can take your time doing this. Make sure all the lines flow really nicely, because you will be doing the wood burning. It's called pyrography. Wood burning is basically called pyrography. Just those of you who would like to pursue this as a career, you will be specializing in pyrography. so you can see this is as much as we have traced so far. And I think this line was missing, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I forgot this. Okay, so make sure the tape is very secured, otherwise your paper will move and you will have double tracing. We are not going to be doing a lot of shadings in this particular piece, but you can make wonderful pyrography using different tools to give a lot of shadings, and you can do very realistic art with it. But today's assignment is just calligraphy, and this is Arabic Islamic calligraphy. In fact, Quranic calligraphy. This is supposed to be somebody's housewarming gift. So we are halfway done with this tracing. So far, so good. Even if you miss out on any lines after you're done with the tracing, you can just use a regular graphite pencil and draw it out. It's very easy to miss out on certain lines. From now on, I'll be uploading a lot of my art pieces on YouTube videos. You can follow the instructions and make your own masterpiece. You don't have to write whatever I'm writing. You can pick whatever you want to. It could be a phrase, it could be a saying, or it could be an image that you just want a line drawing of. And you can also, in the end, after you're done with everything, you'll clean it up and you will probably do some kind of a finish on it, like a glossy finish. You would want to secure your work with maybe a lacquer finish. It could be a spray, it could be applied with a brush. When you're doing wood burning, this is the tracing part, but when you're doing wood burning, it's better to move the plaque than to keep moving, turning your pen, because with the pen, with the wood burning pen, you can easily burn yourself. You can get a 3-degree burn. We are almost done with the tracing part. Okay, it seems like I've done all the lines, but let's see, let's flip it up and see. Okay, it seems like we've done, no, I'm missing out on this line.
How would you know that you've missed on a line?
How would I know what?
That you've missed on a line when you see it like...
That's why I'm using the colored pencil. So I can see it, like, I knew, okay, I was missing the noon. Like I'm missing this line, for instance, you know. You will see your image. It's all about observing. I'm missing out on this line. When you flip it, you will see which lines are not double, and you would know those are the lines you're missing. See, I'm missing out on this line. I'm missing out on this line. So we'll gently take the tape off.
Wait.
Remember I put 2 tapes on, so I'm going to gently take these off. I have double checked to see if all the lines are there. Okay, now I'm going to remove this, and here is the whole image. Okay, so as I told you before, I'm going to put this away. I'm going to put this on the side, and I have put this on a medium high as of right now. I am going to check and see how this is coming out to be. I will put the image in front of me so I'm not missing out on any lines. I will start from, you can start right to left or left to right depending on what calligraphy you're doing. I want to start off from here only because I'm right-handed. I don't want my hand to be touching whatever I'm making. So I'll do...
Can you show the tool?
This is the tool, and this is my favorite tip that I use.
Okay.
So I will, even though the way we write it is like this in Arabic, from right to left, but I'm going to do the burning from left to right. So I'm going to use the tip to draw the straight line. So you want to first start off very gently just to see if the temperature is right. I feel I can increase the temperature as of right now. Basswood is considered a soft wood, but even then, the first time you try, I want you to start off with the medium high. You might have the other type of wood burning tool that doesn't have, it just has one setting. With that one, you have to be careful how much pressure and how long you're putting your tool on the surface. This one, because it can change the intensity of the heat, it's easier to manage with this. So we try to outline everything first. You can see what's happening. So we try to do all the lines first. And remember how I said we would rather move the plaque than to move our pen, because you do not want to have the 3rd-degree burns. So it's easier to move this. As you can see, if you keep your pen on a certain place for a long time, it will burn more. But I want to keep it moving. I do not want one area to be indented more than the other. Right now, this is just an outline of my work. And if you want, you can even increase, if you want like quick lines, you can increase this to the highest setting. Just be very careful. You can wear some bandage type of things on your, finger, on your fingertips if you are scared to burn your fingers. This usually comes in the way, so that's why I have to keep moving the plaque instead of the pen. As you see how I have put one stroke inside by mistake, it doesn't matter because this will all be dark. So if you do something like that, don't panic, it's okay, because that will be dark and burned anyways. If you feel you're not comfortable with this tip and you want to use this for writing, what you have to do is turn this off, wait for it to cool down, use some kind of a cloth or some protective glove, unscrew this over here and then change it into this tip. Right now I'm still comfortable with this tool, so I'll continue. But if there's if you feel like you need this for different points, like if you were using this, it would have gone in a point like this, the tip of it. But I'm just comfortable with this. It's up to you. You can do whatever you feel like. I'm going to outline it with this. I feel this is more versatile. So you would do this for the whole outline, and so I am planning to change the tip. Remember we had the round tip, so I want to change into this tip right now. I had this before, but because we're doing calligraphy for straighter lines, this one works better. It's a calligraphy angular tip. I'm going to let this warm up. The difference between this tool and this previous tool is that this one, as you can see, will draw a straight line real precisely like this. Even if you have to go angular, it will give you a straighter, proper line. So that's what we're trying to achieve with this. It's easier to make these lines even if it's a little angled like this. And they shade well for making these dots over here. It's easier to burn. You just have to use your hand, glide it slowly, and you can see how nicely we can burn this like that. As you can see, it's easier to create these curved lines with this tool. It's easier to shade it like in a straight line as well. What I've noticed with this round tip was that it was not giving me a consistent line with this type of wood. Sometimes, depending on the wood, is how you would change the tip as well. For this calligraphy type, this tool was working better. So you feel free to change your tool tip whenever you feel like it's not working for you. As you can see, this one is just way easier. It has a broader, wider tip, so it lets me burn on a larger scale easily. And as I've told you before, it's easier to turn your project than to keep turning your tool. This way you will never burn your hands. So we're almost done with this, the last of this of these letters here. And even if you see a little bit of a lighter color in your burn, when you are going to put like a lacquer finish and a gloss, they will all become pretty dark with the stain and the lacquer. And if you want, you can go with one more coat of the burn. You see how it will become darker if you go like that. Just be careful and try to keep your hand steady. I'm going to put one more burn over here. And you might have to keep cleaning your the tip. A good way is to use like the back of a metal strainer. That works really well to clean this. It just will take the debris off. I will show you in a bit how that works. Right now the tip seems to be clean, so I will continue doing this. Let me show you how easy it is to make like a straight or a curved line with this tool. So we will go and very easily, we're going to move this whole plaque instead of moving our tool. You see how I'm moving this? And now I'm going to move this back, and we have this straight line. And we'll do this over here again. Okay, this got a little too thin. Let me just make it thicker. I'm just outlining this first so that I can fill it in. There we go. Now I can play and fix all the edges and stuff. I want this to have a thickness. Here we go. Over here too, I'm going to just leave it on the surface for a little bit. There we go. And now we'll continue to burn this first. I have seen that if you just move your tool in an angle, this tool, it burns real nicely. So I'm doing just that. And when you go to the edge, you just have to be a little careful and just do a little bit of burning, a little bit at a time, so that you don't go out of your lines. And so we will finish this whole thing in the same way. So we will just be using this tool to gradually create these lines, as you can see. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to take my time to finish this. You can take breaks in between. Every time you take a break, make sure you turn your tool off, okay? Do not leave it on, because it can be a fire hazard. So remember how I told you that there's a small nick over here? The way we will do it is, first we'll burn this area, and you see the remaining scratches over here? We will fill these up and then with acrylic paints and cover them and camouflage all of this. That's how we will do this, okay? So here we go. Here's how we are going to cover this area. And it might burn a little bit more over here, but don't panic, don't worry. We will try to camouflage this with the burn, and then whatever's remaining we will use acrylic paints to cover that. As you can see, this is how it's looking right now, but don't worry about it. Everything will be camouflage. Like even this over here, I'm going to fill this up and then paint it.
Can you repeat?
You see how there's a nick over here? There seems to be like an indent type of a thing. I am going to fill that out and then cover it with acrylic paint. So once I finish all of this, before I start the acrylic paints, I will tell you step by step how to do some color mixing and then cover that area with. Sometimes you can sand an area to correct a burn, but in this case we need a little filling and some paints. And we are almost done with this. There's only a few letters left. Remember how I said we can do go over a burn to make it more indented. Here we go. Okay, so take your time and correct all the imperfections that you see. You can even smooth out some of the lines that over here. Like for instance, I feel like this needs to be a little bit more curved from here. I'm going to correct this. Here we go. There we go. Now it looks better. Now that we are done with the wood burning, we'll clean everything up properly. We'll see if there's any marks or anything that needs to be taken care of. Every other small imperfections that you see, we will try to cover up with acrylic paints and give it a very neat and clean background. And for this area, we will do a small filling, whatever you can find. I have some like a wood shave, a very fine wood shave that I got from a craft store. It looks like this. I am going to use that to fill it with a little bit of glue. And after that, we will use some acrylic paints to do the filling over here, and then cover up all the marks, okay? And wherever you see the pencil tracing that we did, you can use an eraser. Let's see, here we go. So we can use a nice eraser over here. Try to use the clean part of it and clear up everything that you see here. I can clean it over here. Okay, so I saw a little bit of a pencil mark over here. So whatever you cannot erase, that will be covered up with acrylic paints. And sometimes on these small areas you can sand them too. Let me see if I have a sandpaper here somewhere. I might have, oh here. I have a little sandpaper. I'll check and see if I can maybe clear up a little bit of this area with the sandpaper. Make sure you're sanding in the direction of the wood texture. And if it still doesn't come out, that means it's pretty much indented in the wood. If it doesn't come out like that. So we know this is not coming out. We need to cover that area. This one is coming off. You see, it's gone. It's almost gone by just sanding this over here. We'll try this one too. This one is also clearing up. Good. So both of these got cleared. What about this? You see the grooves in the wood? Try to clear this in the same direction as the wood. Okay. Okay. All of this looks nice enough. So the discoloration, you can try to just do this and have an even tone so it will be part of the wood. Here we go. This is how it should look. Now we're going to touch up some of this area. I am just using this type of a filling, and I'm going to fill in the indent over here with this. I'm going to put a little glue over. I think this is good enough. It got filled pretty easily. Be a little bit more. Here we go. So everything got filled up, which is good. That's what we wanted. I'm going to put a little bit of glue over here as well. Fill this up. Here we go. Everything has been filled up. Now, The rest could be just filled with acrylic paint. So I put in a little all-purpose tacky glue inside as well over the filling. That should keep everything in place. I used a very little with a brush. And now to touch up the areas, now that this is all clean, I'm going to use my palette. Use some of the paints. Let's see, we need some white. We need some yellow. And we need some brown. We want to create a color that is similar to the wood color. Choose like a tiny brush if possible to work this. To put a little bit of, make a little yellow ochre color, a hint. What you can do is test the back of your piece to see if the color matches. That's the best way to see. There might be some imperfections in at the back of your plate. That's the best place to check and see how you can work this. Okay, you see how we did this color match? It's a perfect match. Once it dries, it will not even show. Okay, so this seems to be a good color. I mixed white, yellow, a little bit of raw amber, and a hint of orange. And I got this color. I made it a little bit more lighter, more pale, and as you can see, it's working perfectly fine. So now we know this is a good color. And so we'll start with this probably. Okay. This looks good enough. I'm going to fix this. this area a little bit. Going to fill this dent a little bit with the paint as well. You have to make sure that your color matches. Sometimes you need to put a little bit of red in your white and your yellow as a underlying color, and that's how you will get the exact match. Over the red, when you put a little bit of white. I'm going to let this dry before I put another coat of color. As you can see, I'm not using a lot of water, only enough for it to glide a little bit properly. Matching the color is very crucial. We are done with this piece. We'll just use a napkin to clean off any debris that might be there. And we're going to use Duraclear gloss varnish. So now I'm just applying, I will apply multiple coats of this. And when you're doing this, the sides of the wood plaque might come on the surface. So gently with the brush, just pick it up and continue with the gloss. Be careful where you have done the touch-up. You don't want to mess that part up. I will let this dry for a little bit before I apply the second coat. I'm going to let this dry for a little bit.